Okay, got you. All right. So I have Frankesha Watkins here. She is the owner of BPolished Beauty Supply Store located in Arlington, Texas, which is also home of the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. And for you that are national, that kind of give you a point of reference of where she is, I am super excited because, as some of you know, there's not that many Black beauty supply store owners in the United States, which is a huge problem because, it's a multi-billion dollar industry. And we don't have those outlets of ownership. However, the reason why, that is the main reason why Frankesha sticks out. So Frankesha, here on this platform, what we do is we highlight aspects of what we talk about in our film, and we also talk about the journeys of women as far as being natural and being entrepreneurs and hitting those certain points. Okay, so I want to know a little bit about your background, why you chose to go natural, and then I want to talk about BPolished as well. So if you want to just give an introduction of who you are and why you went natural.
Hi, everyone. My name is Frankesha Watkins, and I am the owner of BPolished Beauty Supply. My journey, let me give you a little bit of background about me. My background is human resources, so I'm an HRS manager by day. So that is HR on the technology side. So I manage payroll systems and employee data. So that's what my profession is. I've been in HR for over 10 years now. Love my career. I went natural because I actually suffer from alopecia, which most of my people don't know. So I do suffer from alopecia. And at the time, I was getting perms. Well, as a young age, I would get perms, and then I went to get impressed. And as I got older, I just decided that, you know what, I already have this issue that I'm dealing with. So it just makes sense for me to go natural and embrace my natural hair texture. And even after I went natural, I still was flat ironing my hair like every week. So I really didn't start embracing my natural pattern until probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, wow. You have a beautiful pattern. Like, your hair is
gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
I'm actually getting it done this week. So I've been a lazy natural lately.
Oh, believe me, I understand. It's I actually just combed mine out not too long ago because I've been having it in a bun like all week.
Like this.
Yes, just like that. So can you tell people what exactly alopecia is? Like, I've heard that term a lot. People use there, say there's tension alopecia, there's alopecia, there's the various forms of it. Can you give a background of what alopecia is and kind of go into a little bit of, I know a lot of African American women are suffering from alopecia. Some of them are in silence, and they're making their situation worse. So can you tell us a little bit more about alopecia and what that is?
So alopecia is basically a form of hair loss, and there's different reasons why. Like you said, there's tension from people who wear too many, like the lace fronts and the tight braids. That is all. Some of that can be caused by tension. So when you have tension on your scalp, you're literally pulling your hair out. There's a different form of alopecia, which is the one that I have, which is more so hereditary. That's not the technical term for it, but a lot of people in my family, we all have it. And so that's the form of alopecia I have. I started losing my hair on just one side, my right side, when I was probably in middle school. And I didn't know what it was. I grew up with my mother, and my father was in Louisiana, and my siblings and all my aunts. And one summer when I went down, I noticed other people in my family had the same situation on either one side or both sides. And so I was like, okay. I just didn't know what it was, and at that time we really don't go to the dermatologist and all that other stuff. So that's kind of when I realized this is something that's within my genes, and it's something that I can't get around. And so I've learned to embrace it. I think at one point in time I actually was kind of ashamed. You don't want to wear your hair up in a bun because you don't have a full head of hair on one side. But as you get older, and you become comfortable in your skin and who you are, you just realize it's a part of your journey. And it's interesting because when I have women who come into the store who have alopecia, I can relate to them, and they're grateful that I can be like, oh yeah, let me show you my right side. Like it's super thin, and there's no judgment. So, I use my situation to educate other women as well.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And so many times people, some people can be so mean and they make light of alopecia in our community, and some of it, like you said, like not your situation, but others, is like the choices that we make trying to be something different and not being comfortable in our own skin.
Right.
So the fact that something that you've been dealing with it, and then, like I would never think that you had anything dealing with hair loss, looking at the pictures that I've seen all on social media. So
yeah.
it's crazy. So what age did you decide to go natural?
So I went natural probably in my mid-20s. I'll be 40 actually this month. So I went natural probably in my late 20s, around 27.
Okay.
And again, that's when I was only getting perms here and there anyways. But then after I stopped getting perms, I was getting a press like every week, getting a wash and then getting like a silk, what they call silk presses now. We used to just call flat irons. And so I was getting my hair flat iron like every week. And then I say that I truly went natural probably about 6 years ago. And that's when I cut off all the heat and started transitioning. I didn't do the big chop. I actually let my hair grow out, and then I cut off the straight ends here and there. And I was in the mirror like every other month, just cutting off an inch here, cutting off. Every time I grew something, I would cut and continue to cut. And so probably about 6 years ago is when I really started taking care of my hair the way I want it to be, to have my natural curl pattern start to flourish.
For sure. And what would you tell, like, what has helped you with your journey with alopecia? Like, what, like, techniques, like any oils, like massages, like what, like a woman that's suffering, like, I guess, like, give her like a tip to kind of help her to, get on the right track.
Well, it depends on what kind she has. So if she has one that is caused by like two types of braid hair or anything to that nature, then I would recommend like using a great growth oil to like massage your scalp. Scalp massages are one of the most overlooked hair growth techniques, to be honest.
Okay.
I massage my scalp with a growth oil every night, sometimes every other night. I don't use a lot, but I do put some on my fingertips and just massage my scalp. It helps with circulation. So if anybody is suffering from alopecia for that reason, wigs or anything like that, a good growth oil would do you justice. And then, of course, you have to let go of the wigs and the weaves for a while until you can recover from that. And if you're in my situation where it's just something that's within your family genetics, there's really nothing you can do. But I do notice that alopecia is very temporal. So if I'm having a stressful month or I'm not getting enough sleep or enough diet, I feel like my hair reacts to that.
Okay.
And so I do try to make sure I'm healthy on the inside so it will flourish on the outside.
For sure. Got you. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about your baby.
Yeah.
BPolished. Oh my God. I love the name.
Thank you.
And I just want to just take my hats off to you, because I've seen your lives where you have been like transparent about what you're going through in your journey, like working a full-time job, having clients, and then, having the store, like having to go through like employees, hiring the right people. Like entrepreneurship itself is just crazy and chaotic.
It is.
And you add a job on top of that, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to know, like, what made you want to open up BPolished? Like, what just kind of, I'm going to do this, and you did it. What, can you go into that?
It was one of those things that I say was divinely ordained for my life. It was nothing that I set out to do. And I still sometimes drive up to the store and sit outside and be like, I can't believe this is mine. I did this. I always thought I would have a hair care line because I've always been passionate about hair care. I was the one that was in the kitchen making flaxseed gel. I was that person. So I've always thought that I would have a hair care line and not an entire store. So in 2017, it just became like, it kept pressing on me. I kept hearing the words, open a beauty supply store. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And
Yeah.
so I was like, where is this coming from, God? Like, I'm not opening no beauty supply store. And then in 2017, it just became so heavy on my spirit. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Um,
Wow. I know what
and
that's like. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so after that, I just started researching. And when I went to research, I didn't even know black owned beauty supply store was a thing because you don't see it in the media. Unless I was under a rock, I had never heard of a black owned beauty supply store. And to my surprise, there were several, in the Metroplex and around the US. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a thing, because
Yeah.
I've never seen it before and I've never heard of it. And so I just started doing my research. And I literally, when I spoke it out loud to somebody in the end of 2017, door after door after door just started opening. And I hustled entire 2018 and I opened January 17th on 2019. I literally was open within a year.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. And one of your lives, I remember you said something about garnering those relationships with various vendors, like having great relationships with vendors. What would you say is necessary for any young woman, in Cincinnati or wherever they are in the United States? What what is it, that one aspect or characteristic that you had to kind of develop that you think that, or maybe you had already, that helped you, with the success of your store?
I feel that I'm very personable. And I've said this, I think I said it in one of my IGTVs, where you have to be likable. In my professional career, I've always been known to be able to develop like strong relationships with my business partners, those that I support, because I have been in management roles. And so it's important to be able to transfer that same skill set to the people that you're working with and your vendors. And in my IGTV, I told the people who watch it, is that the vendors don't look like us.
Right.
Don't look like us. And so even though we're black owned beauty supply stores, some of our products we still have to work with our Asian counterparts. I've met some amazing um, vendors who are Asian. We text, when I need something, I can text them. And
Right.
so, we've developed a relationship. And, I'm proud to be able to develop relationships with people outside of my race. In business, you're not going to always be able to work with your own race. And I think people coming into this particular business need to know that and need to understand that.
Right, right. We had a section in the film with Mahisha Dillinger. She was talking about her friends in I believe it was somewhere in California. I don't want to say the wrong city. I want to say San Diego, but I have to go back and look. But she was saying one of her friends opened up a beauty supply store, and she ended up going out of business because they wouldn't give her product or the right pricing or what have you. And a lot of I know I have one of my cousins in Chicago. She has a beauty supply, not beauty supply, but she has a hair care line that
Okay.
she Whole Foods and all, and she talked about like her whole journey with that. And there's people in Chicago, women that are working together to start, their own stores, and they talk about how hard it is.
Yeah.
So mainly it's like you really need to be able to work on, from what I'm hearing from you, your people skills and being personable, and also being able to relate to people like outside of, because I think some of us are just like, just black,
Right.
you know, and what's interesting is that my perspective has changed on that too, because I was, really kind of, like that at first, and then you start to realize, and you have other people of other nationalities supporting you, especially if you are, personable.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's key, and a lot of us, I think just about everybody can, benefit from, pouring into those those personal skills and being able to deal with people. And you said you have a background in management, right?
Yeah.
So you have employees.
Yes.
And management. That's oh my goodness. Like I might have to take some consulting classes. My husband, he excels when it comes to like management of people and just having that EQ and things like that.
Yeah.
how do you? I mean, so being in management has definitely been beneficial for you.
Yes, it has. And being in human resources has that's been beneficial because I tell people I hire and I fire all day. It's not my motivating speech to my employees, but they know like my background in human resources. I reprimand when I need to, and unfortunately, I've had to terminate when in some situations, and it's just one of those things that you just have to do it. So my professional career as being an HR manager, HR business partner has definitely helped me. Sorry, my emails are blowing up right now. My professional career has definitely helped me transition and be successful in my business when it comes to my staff. I have a staff of 4.
Mm-hmm.
My turnover has been fairly good since I've opened. I have one young lady who's been with me from day one, pretty
That's
much.
awesome.
Yes, and I have some other amazing employees. One's going to school to be a doctor, another one's going to school to be in HR. So, I have a really, really good staff that support me, and I'm very, very appreciative of them.
For sure, for sure. Can you tell us, like, for people that are in the Arlington area and people that may be visiting, maybe the next season going to a Cowboys game, y'all stop by Be Polished.
Yes.
What type of products do you have in your store? Like, I mean, can you kind of list some of the brands so people kind of know?
Yeah, so we carry, and I always tell people we're full scale.
Okay.
So that means I have natural hair care products. I have products for people who are still processed. We're no judgment. We carry wigs, bundles. We carry everything in my store. But my natural hair products, I like to carry a lot of niche products, which is the products that you typically don't find everywhere else. So like your Sotanicals, your Baskin and Bloom, your Obium Naturals. Those are the products that I like to carry. Because Sally's and those places don't have them yet. If you notice, Sally's is coming for us. Sally's
Yeah.
natural hair products now. But I carry a lot of products, and I am one that even as a consumer was reading my labels because I like to know what I'm putting in my hair.
Right.
So I do my inventory. I make sure like there's stuff. If I see something on a product that I might not necessarily agree with or I would not use myself, I typically don't put it in the store. And I know that it's against popular judgment because every beauty supply store you go into, you see everything underneath the sun. But I feel if I would not use it for myself, then I'm not going to sell it to somebody else. So that's kind of how I judge whether or not I'm going to put something in the store.
That's awesome. I mean, because some people, I mean, everybody has their own philosophy, right, about
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I think I totally can, I understand where you're coming from because that to me is just like a different, I don't know, I don't want to like alienate certain people, but this is the word, like having that integrity. Like if I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't want, someone else to use it, and I think that speaks a lot about your store. And then, for some of the people, the reviews, I saw what people were saying, they felt like they can come in, not be followed around, and then also be able to get advice that would just help them, in their journey of being natural or finding the products that they want.
Right.
That is just a different level of, I would say, like love and care, that
Right.
you receive when going to your store versus, oh, it's over there, like
Yeah.
good luck, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that we definitely need. So many of us are already afraid to try different things. We're afraid that we're going to be judged. We're afraid just to be us. So to go somewhere where the person looks like you, that owns the store, and that literally is going through, okay, I don't think this is going to be good for us. I wouldn't use it, and let's see if we can find a product with something healthier instead.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So I just want to say hats off to you for
Thank
that.
you.
And bringing that love and care and support to the community because we need it. Like we have to look out for each other, and you're doing that naturally with your store.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah, I said when I opened Be Polished, I definitely wanted to have a safe place for people, and not to be followed because we see that all the time. We see people getting locked in beauty supply stores because they've been accused of stealing, and having the police called on it. And I didn't want to have that type of atmosphere in BPolished. And I'm proud to say that we don't have that type of environment. It's very welcoming. It's interesting because I remember one situation. I had a lady come in. She was trying on a wig, and another lady started helping her. And I was like, do you guys know each other? And it was like, no, we don't even know each other. And it just made me feel some type of way, because I'm like, here you are, these two women that don't even know each other, but one is helping her put her wig on. It just let me know that I'm creating the type of environment where people feel safe enough, like you said, to be themselves. So that's very important to me. And I tell my staff this too. I'm like, customer service and creating a welcoming environment is our number one priority before everything else.
And that's absolutely amazing. I remember, I'm going to give you a little story. I was about, I would say 13 maybe or so. We had just moved to Texas from Louisiana. And it was that's when I had went from like getting the hot comb press every 2 weeks to getting a perm. And the stylist that was doing my hair was a friend of my aunt's. So she felt like free to speak around me. But I remember she came back. I was waiting in the salon, and she came back she was just so frustrated and angry. And I'd never seen her like that before. And she started, and I didn't get the gravity of it then. But she said, you know what? I'm so sick and tired of us giving our money to them, and we're followed around the store, and and we we don't have any place to go, and she was just so frustrated. And I remember I was like, whoa, like what is she? I didn't understand. Yeah. And now looking back on that, I'm like, wow, if there was a BPolished that was, in place, and it was in Lancaster.
Oh wow!
I don't remember which one it was, but because it was so long ago. But I remember that, and like now since doing this film, that memory came back up. And I think right now there's a stereotype that Black women are very what is the word? We don't support each other and very like competitive in a negative way. But I've seen the opposite as, going to, Atlanta, the different travels and places like that. We're actually, like you said, with the ladies helping each other with the wigs on. It's like, you creating an environment of care and of love, and I think a lot of us are actually realizing, that we need each other. We have to look out for each other. So I once again, you being there, I feel like, and if people don't realize, it has definitely gave taking a load off, like a little stress, when it comes to buying supplies or whatever it is. Because I will never, I won't forget that. But she went on to say more things, but that's kind of just just a tip.
Yeah, I get that a lot too. I get new customers that come in and say, I went around the corner and I'll never go back, and I Google Black-owned beauty supply store. That's how they find me, because they've had a bad experience somewhere else. So we get that conversation a lot.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And you mentioned Obia. Yeah. I had the pleasure of meeting her and her brother. Oh my God. And they're actually in the film.
Oh, nice.
And yeah. I'm sorry. They were actually in the film, and they talk about the importance of creating something that they can share, with the community. And her being her story is crazy because she's a chemist creating that product, So that's absolutely amazing. And now, Frankesha, you are a part of the FedEx thing. What do they have? Like the women's?
Yeah. So
business, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so FedEx is doing this. They do it every year, and I was not eligible last year because I hadn't been open the year. But they do a small business challenge every year, and you literally are able to go out and vote, and they give out grants. It's basically a grant, and I think the grand prize is like $50K, and then there's some other prizes as well. So we're actually in the FedEx Small Business Challenge this year. You can find us under BPolished Beauty Supply. Like the link is in my bio on my Instagram page and on the business page. And yeah, you can vote every 24 hours. It ends March the 8th. So this is the last week. And yeah, we're in the running for it. So super excited, praying we win, because it costs money to scale the business. So it would be such a blessing.
And you guys, because from now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw something about you opening a second store, right?
So the goal is to open a second store. My baby is in Arlington, Texas, and believe it or not, I get so many requests to come to other parts of the Metroplex because Arlington is far from some people. So I do want to open a secondary store. I have not decided on the actual location in the Metroplex yet, but a second store is in my plan. So hopefully by the end of this year, maybe next year, we'll see.
Okay, that you know what that means. Everybody listening, y'all need to go and vote for
Yes.
BPolished Beauty Supply. Y'all have 6 days. You can vote every day. I voted. I need to do it some more. But we definitely want to see that because ownership is so important. I
Right.
was listening to Claude Anderson last night, and he was talking about like how we don't own things, and and being able to change, like you owning that, or we're slowly more people like you owning different businesses are changing that reality.
Right.
This is major because you make it to where it's doable because you are a living example of it, you know? And so,
Yeah.
and I know that it's difficult. I know, like, working a full-time job, you got the clients and all this stuff, but just know that people are watching and are inspired. And I'm sure you know that, but I just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I tell everybody, like, I get these random messages. I think you sent me one last week. Is like, you're doing such a great job. And that was one of the days where I was like, I'm so tired. Like, I could really just go to my 9 to 5 and be done with everything else, like just go back to my normal life. And some
Right.
days I have those moments. I'm just like, I can go back to my normal life and just and say, hey, I tried, And so it is inspiring to hear people say, you're doing a good job. And I know there's other people that are watching me. I have other stores that reach out to me all the time and asking for advice. And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I can give you some, advice. So that kind of stuff keeps me going.
Yes, for sure. And we, like I said, like one part of the film, we talk about distribution and
Mhm.
ownership. And some cities, they're having to look at um, white labeling products or creating products and putting them into like salons because they don't have a BPolished.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are kind of doing what they can to make sure that products are available to the community.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now is definitely the time. I think a lot of us are sharing information. We're helping each other out. And it's just, I don't know. What do you think about that? Or like, is that a good solution, or what do you think about, what is like group economics, like coming together and open up stores, or what do you think about that?
It depends. In this business, it can be really challenging and tricky. I've known some people who have business partners, and they have not always worked as well, because everyone has a different work ethic in this type of business, and everybody has a different drive and a different passion. And you
Mm-hmm.
really have to have like tenacity, like you have to go for it and press your way. And if you have a partner who's not so much, it can be an issue. But as far as group buying, I see it. There's a Facebook group that I belong to. There's Black owners across the U.S. and we talk about it. But we have, and some people do it when it's easy. It's kind of hard to do buy in group when you have me in Texas, someone in Jersey, someone in California. The actual process to get and ship and separate is challenging. But the owners that are here in the Metroplex, we have talked about, group buying and, so we can have more buying power and get our stores fully stocked quicker. So.
For sure, for sure. So let me ask you this. You don't have to just like estimates, because I'm an accountant by so, so I wanted to know what, like, for somebody that was looking to start one, what's the baseline amount of money that you would need to get started?
So it's a lot that goes into that. And it depends on the size of your location. It depends on what your product mix is going to be. So if you're not going to carry like braid hair, crochet hair, wigs, all that stuff, you might not spend as much on initial inventory as someone who is carrying everything. Like I carry everything, and I didn't start with everything, but I've gradually added and added more and added more. Um, so you can open between, I would say, 20K, and it can all go all the way up to 100K or more.
Okay.
And again, that just depends on the size of your store, and what your product mix is going to be. And the other thing that people don't consider outside of just the cost of filling your store is you have to worry about your commercial rent, which is actually first month or last month, as well as deposit. And so commercial rent hits differently than your regular rent. Like you're in the thousands when it comes to your rent for your space. You have to worry about build out costs. So if you do not have a location that is walk-in ready, like I didn't, I had to do my floors. I had to actually get my walls painted. I had to do some work in my location. So you have to worry about your build out costs. Signage, people forget about signage. That can run anywhere between 3 and 5 grand to have your sign up. So it's a costly process. And I tell people all the time too, it's not an immediate return on your investment. I'm still in the hole. And so if you're looking to get into this business because you think you're going to start making millions right out the gate, then you are in the wrong business.
Yeah, got you. Okay, okay. So you have the signage, you have commercial rent, and that hits different than regular rent. Did y'all make sure y'all make note of that? So it would be safe to say that you would need a good amount in reserves.
Yes.
For this.
Yeah, reserves or personal funding. One thing that I've noticed, even with me, I was not able to get a business loan because what banks want to see is you've been in business, like you have cash flow and all that stuff. So they don't want to issue a loan. So a lot of the stores, the Black-owned stores that you see, have been self-funded. Now that might mean your savings, that might mean your job, it might mean your 401k, your IRA, a personal loan, but majority of your Black-owned beauty supply stores that you know of have been self-funded.
Got you. Wow, that's something in itself. Oh my gosh. So with like products inventory, well, how do you go about? Because I know some stuff. Like I worked in retail a little bit in college, but more or less like apparel stuff. How do you go about making sure that you have something that's just not going to sit on a shelf? Like, like, is it a lot of testing or you just really pay attention? Do you have software? How do you go about doing that?
There's no way to get around it. I've taken chances on some brands and some of it has just literally like not moved. It's really no way you can tell if something is going to move unless you have customers who keep asking for it. So, there's a need.
Okay.
When I first opened, I made the mistake of stocking my store with stuff that people didn't want. And so I had to put it on clearance. So anybody who's watching, my suggestion is to open with a nice variety, but listen to your customers and start adding the things that they want to see in the store, not necessarily what you think is going to, just fill your store, what other beauty supply stores has, because what will sell in one store might not sell in your store. So you have to keep that in mind. And another thing that I do, I make sure I get a small amount of inventory for a new product. So instead of getting 6 or a dozen a case, I'll typically get 3 of like a shampoo, a conditioner, a leave-in, a mask, and maybe an oil or a styling cream or a gel. That way, if it moves slow, I only have 3 and I'm not wasting a lot of money. So that's kind of what I do in regards to new products. Now that I've been in business over a year, I kind of know what my customer base likes. And so I try to add more products that are in that same type of family. Like the people that come and be polished, they like great ingredients. They don't want anything that is going to like, like they think is going to give them cancer later on down the road or anything like that. So they're reading the labels on the back of the products. They like, our small brands like the Bass and Bloom and the Sotanicals. They like that type of product. So I look for brands who are fall in that category. And that's typically what I order the most of.
Okay, got you. And so would you say that the majority of your clientele are natural? Like, or you have like a percentage? Like, what, is it like 75-25 now or 50-50?
I'll actually say 95-5.
Wow.
Most of my customers are natural. Now they might be natural, but they still wear braid hair, crochet hair. I have natural customers who still wear like wigs and bundles for protective styling. So my clientele mostly is natural. Now what they're doing with their hair varies. But yeah, I rarely have someone come in that has still been like still gets perms. And we have people who come in every now and then and ask for perms, and we carry a small amount of it. But it's not like rows and rows of it. I might have like one or two of, a couple of different brands. But for the most part, I get natural hair women.
Wow, 95-5?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Well, because that leads me to my next question. So, and I think the numbers already answered the question, but I have to ask everybody, do you think that natural hair is a fad or if it's here to stay?
It's definitely here to stay. I think that even women because women get tired of their natural hair, because we all know natural hair is not easy to deal with. It takes a lot more work than it did when I was getting perms or getting pressed. When you go on vacation, you have to have a shampoo. When you was pressed or a perm, you just make sure you have a satin scarf or something, and that's it, and a brush to wrap your hair at night. But I think it's definitely here to stay. I think we are becoming more aware, and we're embracing it more. And I think now that corporations are allowing us to embrace our natural hair more, is definitely here to stay. I think people struggled with, whether I can wear my natural hair at work, or whether I can wear my high puff at work or my braids at work. But now they're making laws where it's like illegal to discriminate against, someone's hair. And so I think because our culture is actually embracing it more now, and the world we live in is definitely here to stay.
For sure, for sure. And can we just kind of hit, and we can wrap up after this, but since you are in HR,
yeah,
in profession, right? And can you, well, I don't know if I won't say, what do you, like, how have you seen things change in with HR? Because I've heard horror stories, and I myself was discriminated against, and things were said to me that were inappropriate about my hair. So, like, how have you seen things change over the past 10 years of your career in human resources?
Definitely more embracing. And, because I'm a Black woman, and most times at the companies that I worked at has been mostly, Caucasian or different race. No one has ever said anything to me like out of pocket, because one, they know I'm in HR and they know I know laws just like they do. So if anything was ever said, it was never said around me, and that's a good thing. But I think now companies are being more open, especially in HR. I know HR, we have sensitivity training. We have diversity training. For the longest, it wasn't like diversity and inclusion. Now, if you go to most companies, they have a diversity and inclusion department where they solely focus on diversity and inclusion. And that has helped propel a lot of these corporations to get with the times, because, if it's almost one of those things like you don't know what you don't know. So our male counterparts who might be Caucasian, they don't know, like, it's inappropriate to be like, oh, your hair is, different today, even though that's not really offensive, but you're like, okay, and so like, what? It's gonna be different tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, so I think just because they are recognizing that it's a different world we live in, and they have the diversity and inclusion programs. I think it's making corporations better for sure.
For sure. Man, it's something else. I had a lady. I mean, the other day she was telling me that it was her white male colleague just came up to her and then did like this in her hair.
Ah,
I don't know if there's any like legal. I was like, that's wrong on so many levels.
I understand what the fascination is.
Like, I would be creeped out to just stick my hand in somebody's head that I didn't know. Like, you don't know, like, if they wash their hair, what's in it. Like, how do you?
Right.
I don't understand that. We have a whole section talking about people
Touching hair,
just going up to strangers and just putting their hands in their hair. I think the first time it happened to me, I had faux locks, and I was actually in California. And this white lady, she just comes up to me, and I don't know this lady, and she just touched it, and then I touched her hair back, and she was just like, oh, like I'm like, oh, what do you
don't
expect?
like it?
You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of how I handled that situation. But she was just kind of, it was weird. But she was just kind of like, yeah, but my hair is flat. I just think this is cool. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, I'm being nice today, but you probably don't want to do that.
All right, don't do it again.
Yeah. So I guess my last question, we can wrap it up. How can people, like, I know things are changing with the Crown Act and everything like that. Somebody touching like your hair, is that like an offense, or like how can people? I don't know, because I know a lot of us don't want to make a scene.
Yeah.
It was kind of, like how does a young woman handle a situation like that? Because she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to tell her, because she didn't want to be like, you better not be, you
Yeah.
don't do that at work. She just kind of was just like frozen and dumbfounded on that. She couldn't believe that he did that. Like, how would you handle a situation like that?
I would actually question, because I want to know why they thought that was okay. Like, it's never happened to me, but I think if it did happen to me, I'll be like, you do know that's inappropriate, and why did you think that was okay? Because I want to get an understanding from your perspective, not that it matters to me, and not that it makes me feel different from what you just did, but I definitely would want to know, like, why did you think that was appropriate and that was okay? To kind of see their mindset. So I think that's how I would handle it, and then go from there, and and tell them that it's actually inappropriate, and most Black women don't like their hair to be touched from people that they don't know. Like, that's not something that we appreciate, and you probably should not do that again.
For sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I felt so bad, because I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know. Like, I can't give you the professional thing to say. It wasn't professional at all. So, but anywho, I want you guys to check out BPolished. If you want to go ahead and your Instagram, your Facebook, and if you have YouTube once again.
Yeah, so name is BPolished Beauty Supply. We are on Instagram and Facebook, BPolished Beauty Supply. We do have a website, www.BPolishedBeautySupply. We're not on YouTube yet. And you can also follow me on my personal page, which is not private. So it's BPolished_CEO. And we're in Arlington, Texas. We're open 7 days a week. So make sure you come check us. Yeah, come check us out 7 days a week.
That's awesome. And you guys check out Natural Hair the Movie. It's at Natural Hair the Movie on Instagram, and then on YouTube. You can follow us and see, what we have coming up. So it was an honor, and it was amazing speaking with you today. I just want you to just persevere, push forward, and just continue being that inspiration and light for the rest of us. We thank you so much for your service.
Thank you for having me. It was good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.